Welcome to our final match preview of the 24-25 season here on Stones TV and the Maystone United podcast, where we look ahead to the playoff final as we travel to 5th place, Boreham Wood. So there's only one place to start again, Nigel, in the celebration of VE Day, victory in Eastbourne. That secured our playoff final spot, a first league defeat of the season at Priory Lane for Eastbourne. It was 53 weeks ago at the exact same stage where Ollie Pearce made our collective hearts turn to stone. This time, it's Aaron Blair yet again, causing more heartache for a host on the coast.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? It was great. Oh, yeah. I mean, what can you say? It's like, it's the Maystone way, isn't it? We never do anything easy. We never do anything easy. You know, look at our history. Maystone never do anything easy, and you know, and that makes it all the more sweeter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, what can you say? I was just, you know, I was lost for words on the day, and I'm still lost for words now. And you know, it's one of those again that's, you know, Charlie Seaman got that. Well, looking back at it now, very debatable yellow card. But it was given, and you know, the heads could have dropped at that point, couldn't they?
Yes,
and,
easily.
But they didn't. That fighting spirit was there, and that togetherness was there. And I think, you know, I mean, George did allude to it on his post-match interview, but their manager Adam Murray called him that, you know, debatable injury for the Eastbourne keeper to go down. I mean, people in the stands that were sitting behind said he definitely called him to go down.
Yeah.
To buy a bit of time so he should give more instruction. I think that just really helped us.
Yeah.
You know, that just helped us regroup, and it's like, you know, and like Aaron said in his interview as well, if you're going to get a ball over the top, he's going to run them channels, and, you know, he's going to back himself, and, you know, and it just gives you those moments, gives you those absolute euphoria moments where everybody comes together, you know, and you saw it was, again, you know, the whole staff run on the pitch and the management run on the pitch. There's absolute scenes in the crowd. There was pictures of like in the Spitfire Lounge with all the cups being thrown, and you know, it's all gone mental. And yeah, it's what we, you know, all them months, you know, going through January and February when times are hard and you're
cold
trying
Tuesday nights.
Cold Tuesday nights at Weymouth, and you know, going down to Salisbury, the rearranged gap. All those moments, it all comes together for that moment, doesn't it? And it builds into a crescendo, and it's just built right up now to this game in Boreham Wood, and yeah, it's just one of those that splinters in the bums, and you know, you don't know which way it's going to go, do you? No one can really call it, and it's just so intriguing.
Well, you mentioned Aaron Blair getting that winning goal, Nigel. By my calculations, at least, that was the 200th goal under George Elokobi's leadership. Do you remember the first one you scored under Elokobi? I'll give you a clue. It was an away day, and not in the league.
No, that Notts County, wasn't it? Rory Deacon, was it? That lob from...
That was the second one.
Was it second?
Booty.
Regan Booty,
penalty.
Was it? Ah, there you go, you see.
Your memories of that particular afternoon, that Sunday. I remember you were on air with Darren for that one, weren't you? Good afternoon, and a good foreteller of what was to come for the Stones.
It was, and that's exactly it, isn't it? You know, with the league season has gone. You know, when we was at such a low ebb after that York game, wasn't we? That, you know, we couldn't really see a way out of it. But we had the FA Trophy run, and they were all cup games, one-off games, do or die. We come through that penalty shootout at Notts County. Again, a team that's outspending us, outperforming us in every way, and they, you know, had one or two sort of changes, and they had the sub-keeper in, but even he went and played in the playoff final in when they got out of the league. So yeah, again, it just shows. And then obviously the cup run last year and the memories that's created, and these back to the wall games, and he's just got this knack, its ability to get the very best out of not just the players, but the fan base as well. Everybody comes together for those games, and that's where your memories are created, and you know, it's all good signs.
And all those memories you mentioned there, the Notts County FA Trophy game, lots of great away days under Elokobi. Notts County, as we've just mentioned, Eastleigh, Torquay twice, Dartford, Ipswich, Coventry, Worthing twice, and of course most recently at Eastbourne. Let's hope for another memorable away day on Sunday. Talking of which, a quick word on our hosts, Nigel, and how they got into the final after beating Torquay 24 hours before we reached it. Matt Rush on the hour mark, putting the Wood into the final. Torquay think we've discussed this in our groups, never really got going on Saturday.
No, did they? I mean, how often do you see it? You saw it with Chelmsford last year, didn't you? I mean, it wasn't as close, but Torquay lost out on the league title on the last day of the season by 2 goals in the end.
Yes.
And then you've got to pick yourself up for a game.
Yeah.
I know they're at home, but a team that's already played midweek, that's got that momentum, and the way that Boreham Wood come back from that game against Dorking, gave them that little bit of belief. They'd come in to the playoffs, with all those wins under their belt as well since that defeat against us.
Yeah.
At the back end of April there. More on that later as well.
Of course.
And it's just, you just see it all the time in the playoffs. It's just playoff football. It's crazy, it's mental, and you just can't predict it.
So to the coming and going, singular, of our hosts since last time we played back at the end of March over on the pitch there at the Gallagher. It was defender Joe Rye who signed the day before that clash. He played in that solitary game and was then recalled 48 hours before the last regular league game of the South season. So we'll move swiftly on to their key men from this season. It's goalkeeper Nathan Ashmore. He's played every minute of all 48 league games for the Wood this season. He was in goal for Ebbsfleet the last time that the Stones were in a playoff final. #omens. Defender Charlie O'Connell has the most appearances in the defence. Both his goals have come in wins for the Wood. Erico Sousa is the creative force in midfield. He opened the scoring against Dorking in the first playoff eliminator of this season. Tom Whelan is another key part of the Wood midfield. He only missed matches this season after a red card at home to Dorking in the regular season. His 3 goals this season all came in wins as well, most recently at home to Chelmsford. Kwesi Appiah is Boreham Wood's top scorer on 24 goals, but has not found the net in over 2 months now. The goal-scoring burden has fallen on ex-Stone against the Stones' Matt Rush. He has scored in 6 of their last 7 matches. He didn't score against Dorking, despite the Wood scoring 6 of the 7 on the night, but he did get the winner at Torquay in the other semi-final. So Nigel, plenty of familiar faces for Stones fans, young and old, past and present, etc, etc. They know each other rather well, as Elaine and Barbara once said.
Yep, exactly. And when you can go back to our preview to the game at the end of March, can't you? When we said it then, a modern day rivalry. We said it about the Dorking as well. They're not local rivalries, but all our big games in the last few seasons have been against Boreham Wood.
Yeah.
They were the team that we beat down here on Easter Monday, wasn't it, to secure our survival in the National League that very first season under Jay Saunders. They were the team that relegated us down from the National League.
I'll probably say we relegated ourselves, but they
put the nail in the coffin, didn't they?
Down, exactly,
that 4-0 win there. Yeah, and there's just many sort of like little, and then obviously the saga with Matt Rush and John Benton going there this season. Yes, it's one of those things on football terms, but it just always seems that it's Boreham Wood. You know what I mean? They could have gone anywhere, but they've gone to Boreham Wood, and good luck to them. They've gone there, and Matt Rush has continued scoring, and but again, it's just those little rivalries, and there's all these little individual battles, and George Alacobi in the dugout, George Alacobi and Craig Fagan, and up against Luke Garrard, again, but former players had a lot of success. Luke Garrard took Boreham Wood to the 5th round of the FA Cup. George has now got that under his belt. That's all so many similarities, and it's just crazy how it just all sort of like seems to come together, and it's all sort of seemed to be coming down to this one moment, this one game.
So trying to work out what Luke Garrard might do with his team selection. He was sat right in front of myself and Darren at Eastbourne, but I must confess it didn't cross my mind to ask him as I was busy, probably celebrating to be fair. He might have seen it, you beauty. He named the same side in both wins against Dorking and Torquay in the eliminators, but skipper Jack Payne and John Benton both returned to the bench at Torquay after their recent injuries. Nigel, do you reckon he'll have that 4-0 defeat from here a few weeks ago in his thinking when he picks his lineup perhaps, or do you think it's going to be the model of consistency again?
They've changed formation since that 4-0 defeat. They've changed their formation and the way they play. I mean, he's very much. I'm gone into it in any detail, but it's the way they're setting up at the back. So I think that was one down in part of the Josh Hare injury that he picked up here. Yes. So that's made him unavailable for the tail end of the season. Yeah. And then obviously you don't change a winning team, so they've won all them games since then. But they're professional footballers, and I know they've got more experience than us, but they're human beings. It just wouldn't be right them to think that form. It was so recent that it's still going to be in their minds. The same players are involved. Like we said that Joe Rye's gone back and he played in that game, but they got Chris Bush back. So again, that's sort of like he's a sort of a stalwart there, and very good at the back. And whether he's going to get the minutes, because like I say, initially when he had his diagnosis, he was going to be out for the rest of the season. But he's managed, and good luck to him. He's come back and he's playing a part in these playoffs. And it's like our key players, isn't it, as well? Sam Corn, Harry Kiprianu, they're
Bivish Gurung as well.
Bivish Gurung, and Sol's been on the bench. Or he was on the bench at Eastbourne, but he was on the bench at Worthing. And again, it helps as well that you can name 7 substitutes. So again, it gives you those more options. We've said it before, and we said it in our preview video for the league games, didn't we, down here? That, Luke Garrard's always down here watching games. He's a connoisseur of footballer. You'll always see him popping up at games and that, watching players and for future games, and just so to keep a scope of everything. So, and he knows as much as anybody. He's took Boreham Wood to the National League playoff finals at Wembley, hasn't he? They will know that it's all about on the day. You can go through the form, you can go through everything, but it's just going to come down to those little moments, those 50-50 decisions, whether they go your way, they don't go your way, whether you can, if you feel that it's gone against you, whether you can rise above that and still perform, or if you let that affect you and, it just, again, like I say, they're human beings, as much as experience as they've got, and some of them in that team have played in the player final at Wembley. But there's so much more pressure for them to get back to that level. That's what it keeps coming down to me, And Danny Hunter, he's very vocal in the media. He puts out his plans, and they came into this season expecting to go up. They needed to go up. They needed to get back into that National League. So Luke Garrard was brought back in to get them up. Whereas our aim was just to make the playoffs. Not just to make the playoffs, because that's a feat in itself. But and on the back of last season's heroics, we've just carried that on, and we've just carried that momentum on, and it's just all right. It's just one of those games that you can, whichever way you go down, you can go down these little rabbit holes, can't you, and find these little nuances and little battles there. It's just going to be so intriguing. It should just be an absolute classic final.
So despite the fact Nigel said there's no point looking at the form of the two sides, I'm going to do it anyway. The Woods' form since that game on the March 29th here, the last game of that month, and how they've ended up with their 5th place position in the table and therefore the playoffs. They've won their last 5 league games in a row. They scored 3 or more in each of those wins. 6th win in a row by the odd goal in 7 against Dorking. Before that, 7th win on the spin, the narrow 1-0 win at Torquay. The head-to-head from this season shows a 5-1 aggregate scoreline and 4 of 6 points to the Stones. Over the last 20 years in the head-to-head, there have been 20 matches now, 17 wins. 11 of those are for the away side in the fixture whenever it's played. 5 of those for the Stones, 6 of those here for the Wood. But as Aaron and Gaffer and many others in the press you've already alluded to, that head-to-head, it does, as you've already said as well, it goes out the window along with the form book and everything else. The Stones probably won't mind that, given we ourselves could reasonably so be stuttered a little bit the last few games within the league season, and the Wood, frankly, have been faultless since we last met, Nigel.
Yeah, but then again, that's what I've said as well, isn't it? We knew that we wasn't going to win, that we wasn't involved in that 6-way battle for the title on the last of the season. We knew we wasn't going to be involved in that, so we could manage the players' minutes. We've managed Harry Kiprianu coming back. We've managed Sam Corn. Tom Lee pulled up in that Eastbourne 2 weeks ago, but how well did Riley Court come in? You can just see that togetherness is there within the team, and again, all these signs are there from, previous years. We did a similar thing when we got up in the playoffs, didn't we? I remember there was only 5 made the playoffs that year, but once we lost that game to Sutton, we wasn't involved in the title battle. But Ebbsfleet and Sutton were going hammer and tong right to the end of the season. We could just rest players. I think at the time we had Fisher was managing injury. We just got everybody fit. Everybody, all your chess pieces in the right place, ready to just go full tilt with the playoffs. And it's just, again, that's just coming to the fore now, isn't it? And you look at all these little things that Ebbsfleet getting relegated. You know what I mean? It's like we seem to follow them as well, and there's that pattern there, isn't it? And like I said to you earlier, the team that put the nail in our coffin to get us relegated was Boreham Wood, and here we are again with a game against them to reverse that fortune. So,
checkmate, hopefully. Start attack. Look, like it or loathe it, we've won our last 2 matches. We've all been sat here saying that everything's got to be exactly the same as it was henceforth. So it's staying in. So, nah. Our final top 7 stats first. Torquay had the best head-to-head record between the top 7, losing only one of their 12 fixtures. So that was 1-0 away to Maidstone. That meant they top this hypothetical mini-league. But they aren't involved because our hosts, Boreham Wood, knocked them out in the semis. They lost 6 of their 12 games, Boreham Wood, and they ranked bottom in that top 7 mini-league. But they have put pay to that in those 2 eliminator matches. Only Torquay and Maidstone took more than half of the 36 points on offer, and both are the only teams with positive goal difference, both home and away. Boreham Wood were the only team not to win away from home and took the fewest wins in total, just 2 from those 12 corresponding fixtures. So they'll be glad to be at home, although again, made up for it last time out, as we've said, to some playoff stats then. 75% away playoff wins in South this season before Sunday. Hopefully that rises to 80% with the Stones win at Boreham Wood. That is the same percentage as the success rate for the best defence, remember. If you've been keeping up with your homework and you remember us bringing that to you a couple of previews ago, well, go and look it up. You know it's there. Make of that coincidence what you will, frankly. We know what we do with our stats, damn lies and statistics and all that. 3 of the 4 games have had a 1-goal margin. Only the Stones have won by more than that, down at Worthing. Boreham would have showed both sides of their game then, Nigel, where they can outscore an opponent in a goal fest, like they did against Dorking, as well as by grinding out a 1-0 win like they did at Torquay.
But then, both teams have done it the hard way, haven't they?
Yes.
From those stats, it's like, I know Ben said it on a podcast this week as well, that, no team from 7th place has been promoted.
Yeah.
But then I still say that no team that's ever finished in 7th place won 79 points. So, you're
exactly.
normally a lot less that, and there's normally a much bigger gap between the 7th place teams and the team above them. So, we said it coming into these playoffs, didn't we? It's just so tight. You just could not call it. Yeah. Everybody's sort of done these sort of prediction things, and they've all gone on there and, why they're going to win, why they're going to win. But again, it just comes down to these little moments. That's what I'm saying. It's these little moments. Yeah. And hopefully, we go into this as Stones. We've got no fear. There is no fear. There's probably pressure from within, but there's no pressure as such on Maystone to get up, because it's still we've gone that one step further than we did last year. So in that respect, it's a good sign. Yeah. So let's bring it on. Let's just bring it on. Go for it. Leave everything out there. And I hope that come Monday morning, the players ache. All the Stones fans have got no voices, and they're all nursing massive hangovers. Come on, we can do this.
We can. So Nigel's eager to get to the final, as are we all. We'll look at the records in recent finals for both sides, starting with the hosts, Boreham Wood. They won playoff promotions in both 2010 and 2015, but then had failed runs in 2018, ending in defeat at Wembley to Tranmere, as well as in 2023 in a semi-final against Notts County. For the Stones, 1990, Cambridge, say no more. 2013 against Faversham, and infamously 2016 at Ebbsfleet saw playoff final wins, and then last year's agonising late loss at Worthing in that semi-final. Nigel, it's all about trying to find that extra 1% over your opponent and not necessarily having that history weighing heavy on your shoulders with what's come before for the Stones.
That's what I'm saying. We haven't got that pressure, have we? We haven't got that. Yeah. Again, I know it's completely different, and I keep harping on back to it, but there was no pressure on us at Ipswich last year, was there? Yeah. There was no pressure on us at home to Stevenage. I know we were at home, but it was just one of those occasions that we're just happy to be there, and you just go out there and you just give it your all, whether that's with the fans or whether that's the support staff or whether that's the players on the pitch. It's just about your clarity of thinking, making sure everything, and I'm sure, I know George and Craig is would have got every base covered. That Aaron said it in his interview after Eastbourne. They rehearse that what would happen if they go down to 10 men. It's nowadays it's not. There's so much detail in this planning, and Boreham Would be the same. Don't get me wrong. They'd have, as we said, Luke Gard was there. He's a watch us, but the meticulous detail that they go into on these games. They plan for every scenario. So let's just execute those plans. Let's get the clarity of thinking, make the subs at the right time, and just everything needs to come together. And I'm sure George will get everybody fired up, and we'll be ready to go come Sunday at 12:30.
Can't wait. So if you can't remember all of the players from the previous meetings, then why not head back to both of our previous preview videos and podcasts from this season for more information on Sunday's opponents. The links to the videos and podcasts are all in the descriptions below. And if you aren't one of the 1,000 strong Stones travelling to the Mangata Pay UK Stadium Meadow Park, that's going to be short when I'm on air, let me tell you that. And if you can't make it to the game on Sunday, you can watch it on DAZN. You can come to the Spitfire again to watch it there. It's a first come, first served basis again. Or you can tune in to myself and Darren Stiles from 12:10 on Stones Live. You'll see us in the hot take and then hear us on the highlights once they go online. So after 48 league matches, it all comes down to the 49th and final game of the league season for both sides in what no one is dubbing the Battle of the Film and TV Studios. It's Star Wars and Strictly Come Dancing up against Art Attack and Catchphrase. But who will come out on top in the ratings war and who will be a box office flop? I can tell you agree there, Nigel. Yes, it's good, but it's not right. One thing that is guaranteed, it'll be a blockbuster that hopefully has a Hollywood ending for the Stones. Our thanks to you all out there, as always, for watching or listening to this latest preview, as well as for being with us for the entire season. It truly has been an honour doing this, and maybe we could do it all again next season, yeah? A special shout out to everyone else at the club who has allowed us to create and develop this all season long, especially to John Gooch, our cameraman and producer for Stones TV, to Connor Kent behind the camera as well, and for help with the podcast side of things. Look him up on Walnut Media Productions. And to Joseph Parkhouse, of course, who has been here when we have not been able to for one reason or another. They all would urge you to like and subscribe on YouTube, just like we do. And wherever you get your podcasts, just search for the Maystone United podcast. We will see or hear you for our final edition of this season, and it will take the form of a season review a little time after the playoffs have wrapped up. So please look out for that one. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to the playoff final itself. And for one last time during this season, Nigel.
Come on, the Stones.
Oh, that was our line.
Unbelievable.